From the rugged hills of Maharashtra rose a warrior who defied empires, built a mighty kingdom, and changed the course of Indian history. Shivaji's dream of Swarajya ignited a fire that spread across the subcontinent, shaping the legendary Maratha Empire. But how did a small force of hill warriors challenge the might of the Mughals and the Deccan Sultans? This is the epic saga of bravery, strategy, and unbreakable spirit, the rise and fall of the Marathas. Case study: the Marathas. By the end of the 17th century CE, the Marathas rose as a great and mighty force under Shivaji, 1630–80 CE, which led to the establishment of the Maratha state. Shivaji was born in Shivneri to Shahji, who was an official in the court of Bijapur and Jija Bai. Since Shahji was mostly away from home, the young Shivaji was placed under the guidance of his mother and the guardianship of Dadaji Kondadeva. He grew up to be a brave warrior who was well trained in the art of guerrilla warfare. Being ambitious, Shivaji dreamt of establishing a Maratha kingdom. At a very young age, Shivaji embarked on a policy of conquests. He occupied Javli in 1656 and became the undisputed leader of the Mavala region. This paved the way for further expansion. He waged a long struggle against the Sultan of Bijapur and the Mughal ruler, Aurangzeb. He was able to carve out a strong Maratha state. A statue of Shivaji. Shivaji crowned himself the king in a coronation ceremony in 1674 CE and assumed the title of Chhatrapati. His capital was at Raigad. When he died in 1680 CE, the Maratha Empire was a force to reckon with. Shivaji was succeeded by Sambhaji, who was executed by the Mughals. Aurangzeb imprisoned Shahu, Sambhaji's son, for a long time. As Shivaji's successors were weak, the administration of the kingdom passed on to the powerful Peshwas. They ruled from 1713 CE to 1818. The first three Peshwas were able rulers who strengthened the Maratha Empire. The post of the Peshwa now became hereditary. After the death of the first Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath, his son Bajirao became the new Peshwa. He was a brilliant Maratha commander who expanded the kingdom beyond the Vindhyas and led military campaigns against Malwa, Bundelkhand, Gujarat and the Portuguese. He was followed by Balaji Bajirao, another efficient and able administrator. The Peshwas fought wars with Gujarat and Malwa and forced the Nizam in the Deccan to sign a treaty with them. They became the power behind the Mughal throne and compelled the Mughal emperor to grant them the right to collect taxes like Chauth and Sardeshmukhi from many areas. During this time, the powerful Maratha families of Scindia, Gaikwad, Holkar and Bhonsle rose to prominence. Many women administrators like Ahilyabai Holkar and Begum Samru emerged at this time in different parts of the empire. However, the later Peshwas were unable to maintain the power of the Marathas. The defeat of the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761 CE against the Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Durrani started the decline of the Marathas. The Maratha administration. Shivaji was a capable administrator who set up an efficient, centralized system of administration, which helped him to lay the foundations of a strong Maratha state. The king was the head of the administration and was assisted by a council of 8 ministers called the Ashtapradhan. The Peshwa, prime minister, was the head of civil and military affairs of the empire. The commander-in-chief of the army was the Senapati. Other officials included the Dabir, who was in charge of foreign policy, and the Chitnis or the secretary who dealt with the royal correspondence, i.e., letters sent or received by the king. During the rule of Shivaji, the nobles and officers were chosen according to their merit. Over time, as the power of the king dwindled, the Peshwa became more powerful and this post became hereditary. The empire was divided into provinces. They were administered by subdars and their deputies. The provinces were, in turn, divided into units called parganas and villages. The smallest unit of the empire was the village. The village headman was called the patil. He performed administrative, revenue and judicial functions. Since agriculture was the main occupation, land revenue formed the main source of income for the treasury. The territories were divided into two types: Swarajya or homeland, which was directly under the Marathas, and the Mughal lands, which were not under direct Maratha rule but accepted their authority. There were two main taxes levied: Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. The Chauth was 1/4 of the yield of the territory while Sardeshmukhi constituted 1/10 of the yield. These taxes were imposed on the Mughal lands. In the Swarajya lands, farmers paid 2/5 of the produce as tax. Agriculture was encouraged by the state. The Marathas fortified their territories extensively. The Maratha Sardars, chiefs, like the Scindias of Gwalior, the Gaikwads of Baroda, the Bhonsles of Nagpur and the Holkars of Indore raised powerful armies and led military campaigns to expand the Maratha Empire. In addition to the army, a navy consisting of gunboats and a fleet of vessels was also maintained.